Hello, my name is Alecia Rathbone and I'm the Chief Executive of the Housing Hub. Here at the Housing Hub, we're really excited to be part of the conference 2025 SDA, hosted by Griffith University's Inclusive Futures, Reimagining Disability. This is coming up next Monday in Brisbane. And so I do encourage you, if you're around in Brisbane and you have the opportunity to pop in next Monday and join us in the conference. It's going to be a great conversation about all things specialist disability accommodation, how we can have more impact into the future and really support people with disability to live well in the community. So I hope to see you there. We're delighted to be speaking at the conference, and what I'm really looking forward to at this conference is thinking about back to last year when we were part of it as well. What I really loved was having those conversations about how things could be better and how we all work together to make SDA better for everyone, especially people living with a disability, to get great outcomes. It was so great that it was more like an informal conference, fireside chats, learning from and with the people with disability, rather than a lot of big speeches where people are just speaking at you over and over. So I think that was really positive, and I'm very much looking forward to that again. And just that connection and hearing the stories from people living in disability, living with disability, living in accessible housing, and how it's really helping people to live well in the community. Right now in our sector, as you've seen in the media, the NDIS is getting a lot of attention, and often it's been quite negative, and there isn't always the narrative about how incredible the NDIS is for so many people, to support so many people in our community to live well and have the opportunity to be independent, exercise their choice and control, and live in line with their rights under the Convention from the United Nations. When I think about the Housing Hub and why we were formed as a charity, it was really to look at that United Nations conventions on the rights of people with a disability. And a part of that is rights under housing, that people should have the choice to live where they want, with who they want, and how they want. And so that's why we existed in the Housing Hub. And so we really want to be using that within the conference to help amplify the voices of people with disability and make sure we're maintaining that focus on the great outcomes that SDA can have for people with disability. So I'm really looking forward to that being a centrepiece in the conference. And I think that's really important and why we need events like this at the moment. So I'm really privileged to have the opportunity to present at the conference, and we've been asked to talk about the state of the SDA sector. So what I want to do is really think about why the Housing Hub was created, and that was to make sure that people with disability in our community can live in the way that they choose, exercising their rights under the UN Convention. And so I've really taken that lens to that question about what's the state of the sector. So what are the elements that are really important to see within the SDA market that mean people with disability are really driving and shaping that market for getting to live well and get great outcomes? And so I've come up with a bit of a list of things that I think would form part of a report card, and then talking about what are we seeing at the moment? What is the evidence that shows us whether those things are in place or not? When I think about the SDA journey that we've all been on over the last 7-8 years, it really started with how do we actually, get the investment and the capital to build great housing that meant people could live, in smaller settings, people could have more choice. And that was really the focus on the buildings. Then it became the focus on the tenants. So who would the tenants be? How do we identify people and help people to understand those opportunities and really have the chance to explore what's possible and to be funded and move into new homes? And now really we need to focus on what quality is within that market. So we have minimum standards for design through the SDA design standards, but there's so much more that needs to be within a home that means that people with disability living there can live really well and exercise their choices. So I would like to unpack some of the barriers that still exist. Also, we've done a survey recently of the seekers on our mailing list in the Housing Hub community, and people have told us about what it's like to live in SDA or supported accommodation. What are some of the things that are good and how could it be improved from their providers? So I'm very keen to bring that voice of people with disability and share that at the conference alongside some of the data that we have through our website that people share with us. And that's a key part of our mission around how do we really share and bring forward that voice of people with disability so that they are shaping what is created into the sector well into the future. If you're unsure about whether you want to attend this conference, I would say give it a go. There's some great pricing there for people with disability to be able to participate. But if you're involved in the sector, whether you're an investor, an SDA provider, a support provider, support coordinator, a support worker, also family and friends who support people with disability, it's a chance to come in, hear from people who are working in the sector, really importantly, learn from people with disability, and also just be part of a conversation. I found last year what I really valued was it was very conversational, and I had the chance to hear from people, hear people's stories, and really help reflect on those and take them into our practice as an organisation. So, yeah, if you're not sure, but if you're going to be in Brisbane next Monday, I suggest, give it a try, register, and I hope to see you there.